It's time for another episode of The Oil Stream with Dustin Nielson and Tom Gazzola, presented by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Oil Stream. It is game day. We're both dressed up as nice as we possibly can be. It's Nielson Gazzola, brought to you by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen. If you're watching on the live stream, feel free to comment on anything that we have to say. And once again, if you'd like to pick up your Popeyes collector cups, you can do that at any of their locations. 12 of them total, 7 smack dab right in the Edmonton area. Tommy G, I'm going with the HC Davos hat, the gray jacket from Indochino, and the stupid AM radio host shirt from my friends at Carbon Hitter. What do you got going on there today?
Oh, I'll tell you what, that stupid AM radio host t-shirt really Carbon hits home, I'll tell you. I'm a game day look, a little blazer with a green shirt, by the way, in honor of Logan Boulet Effect Day, in honor of donor awareness, organ donor awareness. We know Logan Boulet was part of the Humboldt crash and the tragedy there. And so this is a good cause to raise awareness for organ donations. And you know what, Dusty? 3-year anniversary on Tuesday, and just it brings up sad memories. I think it impacted everybody across the country, whether or not you played hockey. And man, I remember bus rides with my team. It's to this day, it's still is hard to think about what happened. And I've got the good fortune of getting to know Tyler Smith from that team. He's become a friend, and he's a tremendous young man. And Grayson Cameron as well, a little bit, worked some hockey schools with him. These guys have been through a lot, man, and they're fine young men. So this is, something that's near and dear to everybody's heart in this country. Yeah,
it blows my mind that 3 years have already gone by, because it still kind of feels like it was just, not yesterday, but, a year ago. It doesn't seem like it's gone by, but you see some of the stories of the kids who survived and what they've gone on to do and what they're still going through. And I think it's very encouraging. Boulet, for example, as far as the lasting legacy, I think Adams Arena in Lethbridge was actually renamed after Logan Boulet down in Lethbridge there, and that's one of the main arenas down in Lethbridge. So the legacy continues to live on for those who aren't here anymore. And obviously, I saw a bunch of sticks outside doors again here earlier in the week on the anniversary of this, and it's just... You're right, though, because whether you didn't play hockey or not, like if you're on a team, like some of my biggest high school memories were on basketball road trips, heading from Cranbrook to Kelowna, and you just don't have a care in the world. It's like the greatest time ever. And then being on the bus as a broadcaster in the Alberta Junior Hockey League, and obviously, very sadly, broadcaster was one of the people that passed in the accident. I mean, that just hit home. I mean, you kind of just sit down on the bus and assume everything's safe and off you go. So yeah, definitely. It's just sad talking about it still, buddy. It really is. It is.
It honestly is. And, we don't want to bring the mood down because it's an exciting game day this afternoon, but it's something that, it deserves.
It's important to remember.
Deserves recognition. Absolutely.
Yeah. 100%, man. All right, let's start with this. Don Wheaton on White pregame show. What time are you going to be on the radio today? It's a weird one.
2 p.m. Trust me, it's a weird one. My entire day is messed up. I did the hit with you on the smash hit Nielson show on TSN 1260, and while I was doing it, I think you asked me what time we're on the air, and I pointed out we're on at noon for the Oil Stream, and I think I said 3 p.m. for the Don Wheaton on White pregame show, because I'm just out of sorts. I didn't figure out that this was a 3 p.m. start our time until post game on Monday, when Hernan's like, Tom, by the way, 3 p.m. start, not 5 o'clock on Wednesday. And I was just like, excuse me, Hernan, non comprende? Are you talking loco essay? And sure enough, he was bang on. And here I was scrambling. And to this point right now, as we speak, I'm just like, okay, what do I do next? Like, I have to do game prep, not much going. It's a 1 hour show. Gregor's going to be part of it. So, it's those shows flow pretty smoothly, but still I'm just like, okay, my day is messed up. Like, I have to do a CTV hit like you do in the mornings. I do it with Matt Woodman for the late night show. And he's like, see you early on Wednesday. And I'm like, what time? Like, I don't even know. Like, do I need to be read? Like, what's going on? And then I think post game is going to cut back into Gregor's show. I'm sure he's pissed off about it. I don't know, Dusty. I'm rattled.
Hopefully the team handles this better than you are, Tommy. Let's just say hopefully the Oilers come out to play this afternoon. Yeah, that's too funny. And hey, after the game tonight, if you're looking for a bite to eat, hit up Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen for some dinner. Get a chicken sandwich for dinner. Why not?
I'll get one of those collector cups. Thank you very much. Reverse retro.
All right. As for the game tonight, Haas is out. Turris is in. Does this move the needle for you in the bottom six at all in any way?
0%. 0%. And I'm not taking anything away from Kyle Turris. He's had a disappointing season. He's admitted to having a disappointing season. He had COVID protocol, which kept him out when it looked like he was finally starting to figure out his game a little bit. And, he got back into a game against Toronto, scored a goal. I think Gaetan Haas overall has been more effective than him. But here is Dave Tippett's guy, a guy he goes back to or goes back in time with to their days in Arizona, gets him back in, hoping. I think the strategy is to have a motivated Kyle Turris. He has sat out for the last couple of games, playing one of his old teams. Maybe the juices are flowing. Maybe Turris feels good about what he's done in the games he's actually played more recently, and get him involved somehow. But in terms of me having faith in it moving the needle, not really a lot, quite honestly. And Gaetan Haas, he's been okay. He's been good, serviceable. I think he's had a better season than Kyle Turris, certainly. But here's a chance for Dave Tippett to maybe inject the guy into the lineup and hopefully get him going. That's best case scenario, I think, in this circumstance here.
Are you surprised at all that Jones and Bear are going to get another crack at it here after the last game against Montreal?
Well, yeah, a little bit, I guess. I mean, I'm sure William Lagesson will likely possibly play tomorrow, or if they want to go with that fresh legs mentality for the second game of a back-to-back and back-to-back nights. I know that's something Dave Tippett has talked about and utilized at times. So, what gives a young guy confidence, Dusty? When he makes a mistake and he learns from it, and then the coach also puts him back out there to atone for it and to play better and to show that, he's figured it out. I think that's kind of part of this too. And let's not kid ourselves. The Oilers are 7-0 against the Ottawa Senators. Yeah, I understand the makings of a trap game. Ottawa's motivated to beat Edmonton at some point this season. Could be tonight, could be tomorrow. We shall see. But I still think that there's some confidence in the Oilers that they can roll out Bear and Jones as a pairing again and still get the result that they desire.
It's been an interesting morning on the Jones and Bear front. There's no doubt about it. The analytics saying very well. I saw somebody say today that was it goals for against percentage proves that they're just as effective as Nurse and Barry, but they just haven't been as lucky so far because their on-ice shooting percentage is at 0 and Nurse and Barry's is at 12. So, I mean, I've learned to not hate analytics. I don't want to say I've learned to love analytics. I find certain things that I tend to lean on a little bit more, as probably most people do. But I've also learned that you can find certain numbers to almost back up any sort of argument that you really want because so many numbers are available to you now in this discussion. The one that popped up today, and we talked about a little bit on the Nielsen show earlier today, is Jones being described as a very good defensive defenseman, which the numbers, I guess, would lead you to believe. I don't want this to become a let's slam Jones segment because that's not what it's supposed to be. No. But what I'm seeing with the stupid mainstream media eye test is not what these numbers are telling me with Jones. I mean, he's certainly not top 4 right now. Could still very well be one day. Has not taken advantage of a glaring opportunity in the lineup this year, which I think has to be disappointing for the team and the player. But I just don't think you can look at the analytics and go, you know what? This guy should be playing top 4 minutes for your team. That can't be the case.
It's not. It isn't. And that's why, we talked about it earlier on your show. Maybe that was clickbait. I don't know if the people who put out that tweet or run that site and crunch those numbers truly believe that themselves, or if they were trying to get this type of conversation going, which is fine. It makes things very interesting for us. And I'm sure the texters were all over that today. But let's not kid ourselves. He's not a top 4 defenseman. If you're always pointing to luck and then things evening out in the end, I know that was, what was that? PDO was one of those. And that's not the right way to look at it. It's good to have analytics to arm yourself with knowledge, and that is valuable. The more knowledge you have, the better you are able to prepare your team and put itself into situations to succeed and ultimately win. But, Caleb Jones coughing up the puck, Caleb Jones chasing the opposition in his own zone, Caleb Jones seemingly witnessing glorious scoring opportunities, whether it's because of him or something Ethan Bear did or whoever else he's playing with. Those are the indicators that tell us he's not quite ready. And as I said on your show earlier today, those two guys are sub 200 games combined in the National Hockey League. They're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And at some point down the road here, Dusty, in 2 years, whatever, they might be a solid second pairing. Heck, they might even turn themselves into first pairing type defensemen. Who knows? They got to play those games. They got to go through those experiences. But right now, to say that Caleb Jones is a second pairing left winger and to point out those stats and say the puck luck isn't there, that's far-fetched in my books. Let him grow. Let him develop. He's getting his opportunity. He has not had a great season. He's still going through the trials and tribulations of a first-year NHLer and a young pro.
And that's totally okay, which I don't think some people seem to realize. And with that being said, when they get caved for 4 or 5 grade A scoring chances against, it's okay to point that out. It's okay to say, hey, guess what? Jones didn't have a good game last night. Jones has only been okay so far this season. So it's an interesting spot to be in on that blue line. Oilers and Beer on the Twitter stream right now says, if we can re-sign Barry and go into next year with Nurse, Barry, Clefbaum, Bear, Jones, and Bouchard, I think we'd be all right. Too young. What do you guys think?
No,
Barry,
not really.
Bear, and Bouchard on the right side might get caved in a little bit defensively.
Yeah, and that's a soft right side. Let's not kid ourselves here. I like the idea. It's not too young, that left side. We don't know, or pardon me, that blue line, but that left side, we don't know what's going to happen with Oscar Clefbaum. Like, it is totally up in the air. He's in town now, recovering from that shoulder surgery. Who knows if he's even possible as a roster player next season, at the start of next season. There's so many question marks there. And just doing away and shooing away Adam Larsson, I think, would be misguided as well. He brings an element to this defense that it does not possess right now, and especially on that right side. And I think you can't overlook that. Ideally, I think you have Barry, Larsson, and Bouchard and Bear on the right side next year. And then let Bouchard and Bear dictate who takes that spot on the right side, third pairing regularly via their play. And then you have a situation where you might have to deal one of them, turn that into assets. I'm looking down the road here, Dusty, but and then try to get somebody on the left side next year. Who knows where Clefbaum will be, but I think that's a more ideal scenario. And I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities you get Larsson and Barry back next year. I don't know how much they can command, honestly, in terms of money. And I think you're better served having those two on your blue line next season.
McDavid Mania on the live stream right now on Twitter. And if you are watching, first of all, subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. Find it at the Oil Stream, but feel free to ask questions. Surprise, Stalock didn't get one of these Ottawa games. Not enough practice time. Tommy, has it just kind of been identified here that Stalock is an emergency injury guy at this point, or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, let's see how Mikko Koskinen handles this afternoon. I'm always kind of like, hey, let's see. And I'll just point back to what I saw from practice over the last 5 or 6 days when I was there and the Oilers were in town. Stalock basically shared a net with Koskinen, and Koskinen essentially was in for 85% of the drills. And basically Stalock came in to give Koskinen quick breaks, quick breathers, and then he would come in and do extra work at the end of practice. So that's an indicator that maybe they're not quite as eager to get him in, but if they need to, they're getting him ready, certainly. And I think some play on the part of Koskinen will dictate that. we'll see how it goes. There's been times where he's been excellent. There's been times where he's been very subpar. And it's Mikko's show, baby. Let Valen Camus 920 prove it if he can do it or not, because now all of a sudden you've got a more than capable guy that's just waiting in the wings for his opportunity. I
think it's going to be a Valen Camus type of afternoon. I think you're going to get a good game from Koskinen and a victory today. So
great.
If he lets in the first goal, I'm going to be in the inbox for your post game, just watching all of the replies, just saving the best ones for the morning. I think that would be great.
It's fun to do that.
Tommy, before we get to our 2 deadline day targets, and I think there's an outside chance we might have the 2 same guys, and I'll explain why in a second. But who's this? D. Gomez, 1797 on Twitter. Is there a chance they call up McLeod soon, or is he still not ready? I know he's having a great year, and he can get around. He can skate at the National Hockey League level right now, Tommy, but we've kind of discussed it in the past, bringing these guys up. I don't see him being that. Well, I mean, I guess I'll ask you, could he be a deadline day pickup if they don't get anybody?
I still think it's unlikely. I mean, he scored a hat trick last night, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
So, again, I still think that, regardless of how big of an impact they're having down there, let them finish that season out. Let the guys up here handle things, because you bring them up, let's say, what are they really going to be able to provide you? Honestly, outside, I don't know if they're going to make a bigger impact than the guys that are already on the roster, the 29 guys that are here right now with the big club. I think that they'll just be black aces, and who knows if the Oilers make a run and they need to, reach deep into their depth. Maybe one of those guys gets into a game. But I think ultimately they stay down there. But this progress and these results that we're seeing from these guys, that's fantastic.
I think one thing some people don't realize is that you see them, and we've discussed the AHL might not be as strong this year, but that's not what this is about. You see them putting up these big numbers and then come up here and expect them to play in the bottom 6 and produce. And they put up these big numbers because they're top line guys. They're power play guys. Like, you're not coming up here and getting that opportunity. So if they were to come up, they'd have to limit expectations for sure. So we'll see how it plays out down the stretch here. But I don't see, don't bank on McLeod being a big part of this team down the stretch, as some people might be. All right. What about some guys who could be a big part of the team come down the stretch? Tommy, we decided we'd each bring 2 guys we think the Oilers could possibly reasonably target prior to the deadline. And this experiment sucked. I'll say that, because I went through Saravalli's trade bait list.
Yes.
And what is available this year for people sucks. It's just, it's not a good list of guys who are going to come in and help you. So I had a hard time putting this together. I've got the 2 least sexy answers you could ever have. So, Tommy, tell me you're bringing something different to the table. And if you give my 2 guys, I'm going to laugh out loud.
Oh, boy. We do think alike on a lot of things. So I was looking at this list and I'm like, wow, this is a shit list. Yeah. Okay, so we know that the Oilers would like some help on the left side, and we know they would like some help on the left side on defense. For whatever reason, we heard a week or 2 ago that maybe third line center was something that would be looked at as well. So I just said, okay, out of those 3 positions, which one in my books is the most glaring and could be realistic? So I said, I'm going to go left shot defenseman to short things up. So I feel like with that giggle that you probably did the same thing. I'll go with the more appealing one that I think would be odd and come full circle in a weird way if it ever happened. But I think money's a constraint here. Ryan Murray.
Oh,
all of a sudden, sounds like he's available. He's a $4 million plus guy. I don't know if the money makes sense, if it's worth even doing that. If somehow, Kenny Holland works some magic, he did it last year, getting at Thanasiu and Ennis, and you're like, geez, how's he going to figure out how to do that? He makes it work. If he can find a way to squeeze that kind of money in and getting some money out, then hey, maybe there's a quiet left shot D-man that's been around for a while that could wind up on the Oilers blue line. I don't think it's that realistic given the money in, money out scenario. But Dusty, how funny would it be and ironic if Ryan Murray ended up being an Oiler 9 years later?
That would be funny for sure.
I was at that scouts dinner where we started to hear the rumblings that it wasn't going to be Ryan Murray and it was going to be Nail Yakupov. And I'm like, come on, that is egregiously untrue. And then the next morning we're like, it is Yakupov. Here we go. And then, okay.
Wait, so that's your one guy. So let me give you my one guy, and then we'll save. Because I have a left shot D. It's a name that's already been talked about. It'd be easier to do money wise. You know where I'm probably going. Jamie Alexiak. I think Jamie Alexiak. I think there could be something there with Jamie Alexiak. Like I think it could be possible. He's $2.14 million. So if you're looking for money in, money out, and a pick on top of it, I mean, you could flip Chase on the other way. And I know they like Chase on their top unit power play, but you got James Neal who can play power play for you. You got Jesse Puljujarvi who can play power play for you. I think there could be something there where Chase on and a pick for Alexiak. And it might not even have to be a great pick because everybody involves UFAs. So I don't know what it would be like, but I think because of the money we saw, he was great in the bubble, man. I thought he blew me away in the bubble. I thought he was one of the more, not that he lit the world on fire. He didn't go full Koskinen in here, but as far as guys who surpassed my expectations in that bubble, man, Alexiak was one of them.
The only concern I have with him is if Dallas thinks that they're still in contention here to make the playoffs, which I think they are. They're only a few points back with some games in hand in that division, and who knows what happens. And they might need a guy like Alexiak, but I do like him. If you could find a way to get him out of Dallas, I think that would be a tremendous pickup. Do you want my second guy?
Give me your second guy.
Dmitry Kulikov.
Kulikov.
It isn't pretty, man. And we prefaced it. I said it wouldn't be that pretty. List. It was not a great list. And so here's a guy that's been around, gives you some minutes that are okay. And maybe he fits that need, and his price point isn't great. If you want me to throw a tantalizing name out there, this kind of falls in line with the Ryan Murray concept. Okay. This one's up front on the left side, and his name's come up before, but I don't think he'd be a particularly great fit. I haven't been high on this acquisition if the Oilers were to go this route, but whatever. What if you could get Mike Hoffman out of a now slumping St. Louis Blues and find a way to make that money work? That might be a good ad. I don't know if it's even possible. I'm throwing it out there to spice this up a little bit.
Yeah, what would the price be on Hoffman?
He's a UFA at the end of the year. Like, what can they demand out of St. Louis? Honestly. Yeah, they're not getting a first. That's not happening. The Oilers don't have the second this year that it would probably take. If they do move Hoffman, I bet you it's a second. I bet you it's a second for, probably this year if they can get it. But you have to move some money out that they would not want to keep around moving forward, right? So that's not ideal either. But and look, and my last one is just I'm going back to future Edmonton Oiler Luke Glendening. Like when it's all said and done, Glendening's still the likely get, I think. I mean, we know about his relationship with Ken Holland. We talked about it on a previous episode. The Red Wings aren't going to get more than a fourth for Glendening. If they do, I'd be shocked. Give Yzerman a round of applause. I don't see that happening. So I feel like it's too obvious. I mean, here what's happening today? Haas is out. Turris is in. Yep.
Would you? Exactly. You don't think Ken Holland looks at that and goes, "We can flip-flop back and forth between those guys, or can at least bring in a guy who does one thing extremely well in winning faceoffs, and that's it." So
that's true.
I don't know. It's the least sexy deadline day target ever, but I just feel like it's a thing.
Well, whether it's 5 days from now or the first day of free agency, we'll welcome Luke Glendening to Oil Country with open arms on this program.
McDavid Mania says Derek Ryan more probable, but Derek Ryan's over $3 million.
Exactly.
I don't know how you. How do you make that work? I don't know. That's going to be a tough one.
It's better. It's better than Luke Glendening. Let's not kid ourselves. I agree with that, but I don't think it's more probable. Like, why would the Flames try to help the Oilers?
They wouldn't at all. Yeah. You think Sutter's going to roll in and try to help the Oilers as his Flames go down in like a laughing stock? That's not going to be good at all. Melnick 161 says, does Jeff Skinner at half retained still carry a negative trade value? Yes. Jeff Skinner at 100% retained might not be something you want to get your hands on right now. So we'll see how it plays out. All right, Tommy. Back-to-back against Ottawa, and then we'll be back with another episode on Friday to set up a Battle of Alberta and the deadline, which is going to be good. So a big episode on Friday for sure.
Yeah. Dusty, one other note too. We saw Ian McIntyre out of Sportsnet kind of put this out late last night. I retweeted it. Don't expect the Oilers to play the Canucks next week. I'm anticipating, I'm not sure, I haven't seen any tweets more recently on it, but I'm guessing that the league will find a way to squeeze other games into next week. They're not just going to let the Oilers go 5 straight days or 6 straight days without a game. I think they're going to try to bring in some of those games between the teams that can play and then get those out of the way and then put the Canucks towards the end of the schedule.
We should know, you would hope, more on that by Friday for sure when we have our next episode of the Oil Stream. All right, that's going to do it for this one. Once again, if you've been watching, thank you very much. Lots of comments today. That's pretty cool. So thanks for doing that here on the live stream. And make sure you subscribe to the podcast. All of it is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen. The guys who run it are big Oilers fans. You're big Oilers fans. You might as well come together and have that delicious, delicious Popeyes chicken sandwich. Tommy, have a good pregame. Have a good postgame, buddy. And we'll catch up on Friday with another episode of the Oil Stream.
It's fried chicken. I love fried chicken.
See you later, buddy.